Before you lead anyone else, before you lead your team, your family, your business, your community, there is something else that has to happen first. And most people skip it. Not because they do not know it matters, because they do not actually know what it looks like. Hey, thanks for being here with me. This is This Tree and Me. I am Corey J. Riggs. This is a place where self-leadership gets built through story, reflection, and real conversation. And the LAF method, listen, allow, follow, is how we do this. If this resonates, please subscribe, share it, bring others along. Let's get as many people on this journey as we possibly can. Let's grow the community. Let's grow the conversation. Now let's get into it. There is a version of leadership that most of us have been taught. Read the right books. Take the right course. Learn the right frameworks. And study the people who have done it. Model what works. And all of that has value. But there is something underneath all of it that none of those things teach you. How to lead yourself. And here's what I have come to understand after years of working on this. You cannot give what you have not built inside yourself. The leader who has not learned to lead themselves will eventually lead others from the same fear, the same wounds, the same blind spots that they have never faced. And that is not leadership. That is just noise with a title. Self-leadership is not motivation. It is not discipline. And it is not waking up early and grinding more than everyone else. Now, those things can be a part of it. They are not the thing. Self-leadership is the practice of learning how to listen to yourself, how to allow what is true to surface without judgment, and how to follow what is actually aligned rather than what is comfortable or familiar. It is the daily work of understanding what is driving you, what is stopping you, what are you avoiding, and what are you ready for? And the reason it matters is not because that it makes you a better leader to others, though it does. It matters because without it, you spend your whole life leading from a version of yourself that you have never actually met. So this reminds me of a morning where I was putting a lot of intention to my business. What is it going to look like? What does the financials look like? Am I a podcaster? Am I an author? What avenues of revenue am I searching to go down? How am I going to build the business as I develop the business? And soccer kept coming up. And for those that don't know, I coached soccer for about 22 years. I've been retired for a year, competitive youth soccer. And over all the years, from starting a small little club one time to being in multiple states in multiple different clubs, the common thing is coaches, and this is how new clubs get started, feel, okay, we can do better here. We've got the coaching. We've got the vision. We have the understanding. Let's go do our own thing. Can it be successful? Absolutely. Can it be better or sustainable to what is already out there? Absolutely. It can also not, but it has both possibilities, right? But for me, it's the familiar. Is it what I'm called to do? No. Could me and the coaches that I know from around here and pull together and get something going and functional and have success? Very possibly. But it's not where my heart is. It's familiar. It's the ego saying, hey, go do that. Because this other side sounds scary as hell, man. Why would you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to go do the unknown where you could have a lot more bumps and failures than you would of doing this with soccer? You got a lot of the bumps out of the way. You did that for 2+ decades. But that's not where my heart is. So even if I would go do that, if my heart's not in it, if it's not what I'm being called to do, if it's not what gives me passion, then it's not what I want to be doing. It's not what I should be doing. Are there going to be things that I have to do to get to where I want to go that I don't like? Absolutely. But I know they're building blocks to getting to where I want to go. So whatever avenues I create, whatever revenue streams I create, what other paths I decide to go down, they have to call me. That was the most important lesson that I learned that morning. And just sitting there listening to it, allowing it to be, and really deciphering through it, it really hit me. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Could I do it? Yeah. Do I want to? No. So I'm not going to. Why then was the question, why is that coming to you so hard? Why is that right front of face for you? Why is that right there? Because it's the familiar. It's easy. It's easier than the other way. That other path's bumpy and scary, and you have no idea what the next step looks like. But that's where my heart is calling me. And that's the faith that I have. And that's where the work is leading me, to lead myself and believe in myself. So I simply follow it. Really quick thought for you. Think about the thing you keep coming back to. The familiar plan, the comfortable idea, the known path. Is that where you are being called? Or is that just what you know? Because those are not the same thing. Self-leadership is learning to tell the difference between what is comfortable and what is true. So the tool at the center of all of this is self-discovery. It's not journaling. It's not meditating, praying. It's not just checking boxes. And those are important things for me specifically. Self-inquiry is the practice of asking yourself the questions that most people spend our entire lives avoiding. Questions like, what am I actually afraid of? What is the noise inside telling me right now? What am I choosing because it is safe? And what would I do if I stopped performing for everyone else? And then most importantly, sitting with the answers you receive in this long enough for them to become true, to allow them to be true. In the LAF method, the process begins with the listen. That's the L. Hearing what is actually there, not what you want to be there, and not what sounds right. But here is what most people miss about how this actually works. It is not a clean sequence you walk through once and arrive at the other side. You might get deep into the allow section, right? Whatever you're working on, whatever you've been listening to, whatever it's giving you, you're allowing it to have that space. And just letting what is true sit without judging it or explaining it away. And then the ego, the noise steps in. And suddenly you're right back at the beginning. You're listening again. Okay, what is the ego saying? Why does it not want me to go here? What or who is it protecting? So you listen. You listen again. You allow again. And eventually, when you have cleared enough of the noise, no matter how many times that cycle takes you, the follow will become visible from your heart. But that path never is the same twice. It is never the same twice. Sometimes the allow comes before you even know that you are listening. Sometimes you're halfway through the follow, you're already taking steps. And something surfaces and sends you all the way back to listen again. It just gets so noisy, you can't keep going forward. You got to stop and be like, what in the hell? And that is not failing. That is not the method failing you. That is it in its truest form working for you. The inquiry inside goes as deep as you are willing to go. In the most recent practice of that I can give you an example of that's really fresh in my mind is my resignation. The day of my resignation is a morning that you could probably imagine a little anxiety. I've been here 16 years. I've been at that same company. That's the reason I came here. I moved here, started that job, haven't left, worked my way through different things. So I've known these people a long time. I have my egoic thoughts about, oh, they need to know this, they need to know this, and I need to make sure I say this, and working through the conversation over multiple days, multiple weeks. I knew I was going to resign a while back and pursue my dreams. I came to that decision a while back. There's things that needed to come into place before I could do the resignation when I was on medical leave, different things like that, all that. So all these mornings I'm working through that conversation, right? The person that I report to, my boss, friend now, he's not my boss or colleague any longer. I've reported to him a couple times. He's known me the entire time that I've been there. We've had a good relationship. So how's this conversation going to go? Trying to work it out, right? And the more that I keep doing it, the noisier it gets, the closer the day. And I'm like, finally, what? What's going on? And it was like, no, this is the method. Listen, ask questions, let them talk more than you. And it was right. There's not a lot I needed to say. They don't need to hear my ups and downs in the company and what I'm thankful for and what they need to fix or any other nonsense that was coming through my head. They didn't need an over explanation of what I was doing, where I was going. I've already made that decision. I was comfortable with it. I went through the method. I know what I want to do. I know where I'm supposed to go. Chest up, strong, confident. Sat down with him. I'm leaving. Nothing bad. Just going to pursue other things. Ended up being a great conversation. Work was maybe 15 minutes total, 20 minutes total of the 2 hours him and I just sat there and talked. It was a great conversation. And without living self-leadership, without living the LAF method, without going through the self-inquiry, it may not have been that pretty. Well, one, I probably wouldn't even be at this decision. I'd probably still be working there. But definitely to have that conversation, I wouldn't have got to where I needed to get. And then it was just a great conversation. Be in it. That's what the method requires. Just be in it. Believe in yourself. Trust in what you're doing. Follow the method. And it'll give you everything you need to lead yourself. Really quick side thought. Where in your life are you stuck between the allow and the follow? You know what is true. You have been sitting with it. What would it look like to actually do something with it today? Self-inquiry is the tool. The LAF method is the container. What you do with what you find is the work. And you know what really stuck and came through all of this? The only way to teach self-leadership is to practice it yourself. Every single day. Not the performance of having it figured out. Not the presentation of the arrived, the healed, the complete version. The actual daily practice of sitting with yourself, asking the hard questions, allowing what is true, and following it. And following even when it's uncomfortable, even when you do not know where it's going to lead you, even when the familiar thing is right there in front of you. And when you do that, something happens. Not because people are watching you do it and not because you are modeling it for them. But because the person who has actually done the work can sit with someone in theirs, they can ask the right questions, and they can recognize the noise for what it is. You do not teach people how to lead others. You help them how to learn how to lead themselves. And they figure out how to lead others from there. That is the formula. Learn how to lead yourself. Lead yourself. And then from that, you will learn how to lead others. You do not perform it. You live it. And the living is what teaches. So June 10th, the same day as my resignation, is a kind of a big day for me. Or it was. And now it became it again. So June 10th, 1990 was my first day sober. When I was 19, I went to treatment. I actually went to treatment on June 9th. Did not necessarily go to treatment sober. So June 10th is the day. I tell that little quidbit story there for my mom. It's always a funny story with her and me on that one. Anyhow, so, 30 years later, whatever it was, I started drinking again. And I've spoken on here before that I have, experimented with plant medicine for, a little bit of mental health help, anxiety and things of that nature, right? Sleep. I don't want to take medicines. I don't want to take chemicals. So plant medicine was the way to go for me. So what I realized after June 10th, 2026, the day that I put my resignation in, and it wasn't set for that day. There was other days that it was set for, but my boss was on vacation. So I had to wait for him to come back. I didn't have to. I chose to because I have that respect for him and I want to have that face-to-face conversation with him. I wanted him to hear it before anybody else did. So I called my mom. I was like, there's no reason to stop celebrating June 10th. June 10th is about a step I took to change my life. And I don't have to get into the addiction versus disease and mental health issue, all that. That's a whole another podcast. That's a whole another conversation. I have my views on it. But just because I'm not sober any longer, but my life is improving and increasing and getting better in every way, shape, or form. It has been for many years since I started doing this. It's about taking steps to make a better life. That was a massive one in 1990. And this was a massive one in 2026. And the confidence that I walked into that room with, the pride of the meditation from that morning. So the jaguar is my spirit animal. I've talked about it all the time on here. But I mention the jaguar often, but he's my spirit animal. I always thought I just liked the cars. Come to find out there's more to it than that. There's a whole story behind that too, but that's another story. But in that morning, he kept reminding me, you teach self-leadership. You teach self-leadership. And I walked into that resignation that morning. I walked into that meeting, chest up, knowing exactly what I needed to do, knowing exactly what I needed to say. And whatever came out of that conversation came out of it. But I knew I was walking in as a self leader, and I portrayed that because I live it. And the last three words that came in that meditation that morning, I don't perform. Walk in every situation, connect the way you need to connect, and don't perform. If it's true to your heart, nothing else matters. The words will find the way out. The lessons and the conversation and the understanding will find its way. Don't perform. Practice self-leadership, and everything from that will work out. Never said it's going to be easy all the time, but that's what it comes down to. Leading yourself from the heart, following your heart, and taking those steps with all the conviction you have inside for it. So now you may ask, so Corey, what does this actually look like? Not in theory, man. What does it look like in the daily? It looks like a morning of practice that is not checking boxes. It looks like sitting with whatever is noisy and sitting with it instead of pushing through to get to the other side. It looks like choosing and recognizing when you're choosing the familiar thing because it's familiar. And then asking, is that actually what I'm being called to do? It looks like knowing the difference between what the ego is offering and what the heart is directing. And some days that difference is right there in front of you, loud and clear. Other days it's quiet. Other days there's nothing dramatic arriving, good or bad. And the practice is just showing up anyway. Because the practice is not only valuable when it delivers. No, it's the foundation. And it's foundational whether it delivers or not. You build the muscle showing up, not by waiting for the muscle to be built before you show up. And here's the part that probably matters the most in this context. You do not have to have it all figured out to start. You will never fully arrive. Growth does not end. You will always be learning something new about yourself, about self-leadership, and what it actually takes to lead yourself before you lead others. That is not a limitation. That is the nature of the work. So you start from where you are. You lead from where you are, and you teach from where you are. And the work continues. It always continues. That is what it means to be in this. So there was a stretch. There's been a few, but this one was a bit more of very quiet mornings. No big aha moments, no big danger. Oh my gosh, dude, what's all this noise coming up about? Quiet. A little bit here and there, a little this, a little that. But just stillness, calm, listening to the meditation, following the meditation, breathing through the meditation, and just being so at first confused. Like, what is this? I've been doing this for years and I have never had this long of a stretch, specifically day after day after day of quiet. So the first day or so was, what is going on? I'm in a plateau. I've stalled, this, that. Maybe true. And then it started growing on me. Just let it be what it is, man. This is part of the method. This is the allow. Allow it to be quiet. Listen to the silence. Don't judge it. Don't overthink it. Don't force it. Just let it be, man. And then one day turned a little bit. I got a good question through it and I was like, okay, all right. And this is, I've already built the episode and everything. So I'm just sharing the story about it, or I would have put it in the teaching. I had a shit day. No other way to say it. Got up, meditated, journaled, did the normal stuff. Just wasn't there. Wasn't feeling it. Went to the gym. Got through yoga. Started going to do my cardio workout. I did 3 reps. I didn't question myself. I didn't ask a stinking question. I got up, put everything away, came home. Did nothing. Nothing. Watched a lot of World Cup soccer. Nothing else. And then the next morning, man, did it not stay quiet. And it was just the profound sense of what's next. And not necessarily, hey, this is the exact path you're going to go down. But you've been putting this one thing on a back burner for quite a while because you're scared of it. It scares the hell out of you. And we haven't been talking about it for a while. So it's just kind of been back there and you've been okay with it. But until you do that, you're not going to get out of this. You're not going to step forward the way you need to step forward. You're not going to move forward. You need to do this, whether it is the true direction of the steps to follow after, or if it's simply giving you the permission to move forward, to do something hard, to do something that scares you, to take that next step to level up. And the opportunities for this event only happens once a week. And I have 5 weeks total left here in Tulsa. But it was clear as all get out. And it would never have happened if I would have forced the method, if I would have forced some thinking or direction. I simply stopped and I just allowed it to be quiet. One, thank you. I can't remember the last time that I've been this quiet in meditation, still and calm for that many days in a row, let alone an entire meditation session, which is a couple hours, but amazing. So how about you just enjoy it? And then there it came. I had the container, but I wasn't allowing it. And once I stopped and I fully allowed myself the permission, just like I talked about a couple episodes ago, there is more to life than the life I have given myself permission to live. Same within this. Give yourself the permission to let it be the way it is. Everything else will work out from there. And it did. Now, I simply have to follow that step, which still scares the living shit out of me. But I will do it. That's part of the journey. It's part of the work. All right, one more quick thought. What does your version of the practice look like right now? Not the version you want it to be, the actual one. The one that shows up even on the quiet mornings when nothing dramatic arrives. Because that version, the one that keeps going anyway, that is the one that builds something real. You do not have to arrive before you start. The work is never ending. Start from where you are. So as I'm building episodes and going through the material, I like to find truths that stand out for me. 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, I just let them call me and like, okay, I need to make sure I emphasize that. Those are truths that mean and ring something to me. I would love to hear what it is for you. These are mine. Before you lead anyone else, lead yourself. Not perfectly, not from a place of having arrived, and not from the performance of the healed and complete version of you. From wherever you actually are, whatever that might be, with whatever the practice is giving you at that moment. And with the honest recognition of what is familiar and what is true, and whether or not those two things are the same. The people who need what you have to give do not need you to be a finished product. They simply need you to be in it with them. In the practice, in the inquiry, in the daily work of learning how to lead yourself. And that process never ends. As long as you're growing, you will always be learning how to lead that new version of you. It does not end, and it is not supposed to end. The only way it ends is if you quit. Every new level of you, every new version of yourself brings a new version of the same work. So the question is never, am I ready? The question is, am I in it? That is self-leadership. That is the method. And that is what comes before everything else. Before you lead anyone else, lead yourself. The rest follows from that. So at the end of every episode, I like to bring up some reflection questions that I've jotted down and that I've sat with, and I'd love to hear your thoughts of you sitting with them and what it brings up to you. Hit me up any way you'd like, comment, DM. I'd love to hear from you. So, where in your life are you actually leading others from a place you have not yet led yourself? What is the familiar thing you keep returning to? And is it where you are actually being called? What would your leadership look like if it was from the practice instead of the performance? And what is one thing you can do? What is one thing you could do today that is an act of leading yourself? Mine, many years ago, I will share this one really quick, was 1 minute of meditation. That's all I could muster up. This was so loud and noisy. Years ago, so loud and noisy. 1 minute. I did 1 minute every day until I could do 2. It doesn't take much. Just start. Before you lead anyone else, lead yourself. The rest will follow. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. If this resonated, subscribe. If you haven't already, check if you have. If you haven't, please subscribe. It helps us so much. Share, comment, bring others along. Let's really grow the community. Let's grow the understanding, the conversation, and let's start leading ourselves so that we can become better leaders for others. You are the leader that this work is building. Keep showing up for yourself. Everything else follows. This is This Tree and Me. I am Corey J. Riggs. I love you all. Be blessed.